Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Dunn Wisdom Morning Show. I am Melissa P. Dunn, CEO of MD Marketing Network and the founder of this Dunn Wisdom movement. I am not only a marketing expert, I'm also a success coach. I specialize in helping women to achieve their dream life, both in business and, of course, in life. So, we're going to continue a four-part series. Last week, Wednesday, I began part one of 4 ways to get unstuck so that you can crush your goals. I didn't make it completely through part one, so this is actually today is part 1B. All right, so let's do a quick review and then we will continue with the lesson. Let me cue it up for you. All right, where are we? There we go. Cueing it up. Oh, snap. Why is this thing not behaving properly? There we go. All right, so 4 ways to get unstuck so that you can crush your goals. Of course, reminding you of a quote from Nelson Mandela, telling you to make sure that you never give up. All right. So we're talking still about way number 1, which is to leverage your creation process to work for you instead of against you. And so there are 4 parts in this. Last week, we talked about how to determine, to decide how you're going to play the game, to commit to the process, and then to map out your creation process, right? So today I'm going to show you how to reverse engineer your creation process so that it'll help you get unstuck. And let me tell you, this thing works for me very, very much. And so I hope it's going to work for you as well. So reverse engineering the creation process. So remember, I told you that your thoughts trigger your emotions, which inspire your actions and produce your results, right? That is how the creation process works. So to reverse engineer it, you got to kind of figure out where you are in that process. And I think it's a great place to start is to figure out what results you have right now, right? So step 1 in reverse engineering your creation process is to identify where you are right now. What results are you experiencing, right? And what actions did you take that produced that result? For a lot of people, it's a lot easier to look at those tangible evidence. It's a lot easier to say, how is your life right now? And what actions did you take to produce those? It's a lot easier to look at that as a first step rather than to say, let's look at our thoughts and our emotions for some people. So, yeah, look at where you are, right? And ask yourself, well, those actions, are they in alignment with your goals? Is that a yes or a no? And how did those actions make you feel, right? So, for example, a result that you may be experiencing right now, let's say that you are facing financial hardship. Let's say that your credit score is in the pits. You're not bringing in as much money as you'd want to bring in. You haven't closed any new contracts. You haven't really gotten a promotion in a while. That's how your life looks right now from a professional or financial perspective, right? Then you can say, well, shoot, why do I have a low credit score? And list those ideas. So that's the actions that you took, right? And then you need to find out, well, how does that make you feel? Does that make you feel like you are, not responsible? Does that make you feel like, how does it make you feel, right? So that's the first step, is to figure out where you are. Now, the second step is to use your emotions like a GPS. So this is actually something that I learned from Abraham Hicks, and I'm going to make this larger so that you can see the slide really well. But this is a process. Where Wait, what happened there? I don't know what happened there. Give me a second. Let me add that back to the stream. There we go. Okay. Technical difficulties. This one is going to be a good one, y'all. I promise you. This is a process that I use all the time, and it really, really, really supports me. I don't know what's happening to my tech today. All right, Satan, get behind me here. All right, we're going to try this one more time and see what happens. Okay. Wow. You guys, I'm having a little technical difficulty here. I'm not sure what's happening. Let me stop sharing the screen and I'll reshare it. I really want you guys to see this. I think that it will add a lot of value to you. And when I tell you that this process has helped me significantly, I mean that it has helped me a lot in understanding, not only understanding my emotions, but understanding how to use it to my advantage so that I can get what I want in life and in business. It's a really valuable tool, a really valuable practice that I learned from Abraham Hicks. There we go. All right, so I want you guys to see this. And voila. Okay, there you go. It's a lot of information, but I think it'll really support you. So this diagram that I have on the right is called the Emotional Guidance Scale. And it's something that I learned from Abraham Hicks, right? The basic premise is that when you're feeling positive emotions, and when I use the term positive, negative, it's not a right or wrong thing, right? It's just putting a word to your emotion. It's a part of your emotional intelligence. So anything from 1 to 7 is considered feeling good. This is where your desires are about to manifest. This is where your vibrations match is starting to show up here, right? So this is when you're feeling joy or passion, enthusiasm, positive expectations or belief, optimism, hopefulness, or even contentment. Anything from 1 to 7 is considered the manifestation zone, right? Anything from 8 to 21 is considered where you're having some sort of resistance. Maybe you're feeling some negative emotion. So 8, for example, would be boredom. Overwhelm will be 11, disappointment will be 12, and then all the way at the bottom at 22 is grief, fear, depression, despair, or powerlessness. So the theory that Abraham Hicks shares is that you can go from one level to another level, right? So you can jump from fear to feeling insecure, and that's beautiful and that's perfect, and that's where you are right now. But it's really challenging, if not impossible, to go from fear to joy without going through the other steps up the emotional scale. So part of the game is for you to figure out where you are right now and to just think a better feeling thought or do something to shift the way you feel so that you can feel the next rung up on the level, right? And so way 2 with reverse engineering the creation process is for you to use your emotion like a GPS, for you to start practicing emotional intelligence. So list your current emotions. Like, what are you feeling right now? Pick one on the scale and then ask yourself, well, is that emotion in alignment with what it is that I'm trying to create, right? If it's a yes, then fantastic. You want to feel that as much as possible. If the answer is no, then how can you feel a little bit better, right? You need to figure out what thoughts triggered that emotion. And then you need to ask yourself a series of questions, right? What thought triggered that emotion? So for example, let's pick a topic. So one of the things that I've been personally working on in my life, let me set it up so you can see me again. One of the things that I've been personally working on in my life is for me to lose weight, right? For me to get in shape. That's one of the things that I've been personally working on in my life. And so I ask myself, well, perfect example. About 2 weeks ago, I didn't go work out. I skipped like a whole week. I didn't work out at all. And so the result that I was getting as a result of making that choice not to go to the gym is that I started to feel away. Like I started to say to myself things that really didn't support my vision of being a healthy, fit, prosperous woman that keeps her word to herself. And so my self-talk really became negative. My self-talk helped me to feel lazy and emotions that really were on the lower end of the scale. And so to get myself out of that mindset, to get myself out of that period of inactivity, I really needed to boost the way that I felt. So some of the things that I did to disrupt that negative period of inactivity was I started to spend time in nature. I got up early and I went to the ocean and I watched the sunrise. I walked on the beach and really focused on the feeling of the sand between my toes. I went to my friend's house, my friend Karen's house, and Karen, her backyard is actually one of the Lauderhill golf courses. So I would go to Karen's house and I would lay in the grass on the golf course and I would watch the clouds, right? Those things made me feel so good. They energized me. They made me feel happy. They made me feel joy. They made me feel hopeful. And they filled me so much that the next week, boom, I was back on my eating plan. Boom, I was back on my workout schedule. And so that's how I reverse engineered the creation process to work for me instead of work against me, to get me unstuck so that I could move towards the goal that I want to achieve, which in the domain of my health and wellness, that goal is for me to become a healthy and fit woman. And the result of all of that, obviously on the outside, is going to be losing a little bit of weight, being able to wear a bikini. But on the inside, it's really proving to myself that I can consistently keep my word to myself the same way that I keep my word to other people, right? And so here's my encouragement to you. Figure out where you are right now in your life, right? And then ask yourself, what actions did you take to get there? And once you figured out that action, ask yourself, well, how did that make me feel? You want to make sure that you use your emotions as a GPS, that you leverage your emotional intelligence so that you're feeling good most of the time, so that you're feeling happy most of the time, so that you're feeling peaceful and joyful and excitement and even contentment most of the time. And when you do, when you're aligned, I promise you, inspiration will come. I promise you, a way will show itself to you so clearly that you'll know what your next right step is. Because you are destined for greatness. You have a purpose. You have a calling on your life. You know, I was on a call yesterday with my mastermind, and my friend Kimberly, who is a first lady of a church in Los Angeles, was sharing a story. And listen, I'm not a biblical scholar, so forgive me in advance if I mess up this story, but Kim was sharing the story of this woman in the Bible who was a prostitute. And well, I shouldn't tell the story because I don't know it very well. If you guys are a biblical scholar and what I'm saying makes sense to you, could you type in the reference so that everybody else will know? But anyways, Kim was sharing the story that there was a woman in the Bible that was a prostitute, that was brave enough to say, yeah, me, God, me. And she really put herself out there and connected with God. And in the process of doing that, it turned out that she ended up being in the lineage of Jesus. And I was like, wow, look at that. If she wasn't bold enough to say me, if she wasn't bold enough to step forward and say, I need you, I need help, then she would have remained stuck in her circumstance. And then all of the generational blessings that came after her would have been missed, So here's my encouragement. Be bold. Step forward and say, yes, me too. Use me. I am willing to be a source so that things can flow through you to the world, right? So that your cup can be filled with good health and prosperity, full, so much so that you can give from your overflow to bring blessings to everyone who behold you. All right, so let's say good morning to some folks. Good morning to you, Miss Joy. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for watching, Tina. Thank you so much. Hey, Mom. Good morning. Thanks for watching. Do you know what I'm talking about, that story with a prostitute in the Bible? I have to ask Kim to give me the reference because I know I butchered the story. All right, Patrick, thanks for watching, brother. I appreciate it. Good to see you. And Tina says, this will be great for me to use with my 15-year-old daughter. Yes, for sure, Tina, it will. It will. The emotional intelligence thing is a game changer. I wish that I knew how to I wish that I knew how to recognize and give words to my emotions when I was 15. I was feeling so deeply. When I was 15, I was feeling, I think that's when the voice of insecurity starts to raise its head, right? That's when you start to listen to the girls in school, and some of those things kind of come into your mind and it stays there, particularly if your love language is word of affirmation. Yeah, that's a very vulnerable time. So keep talking to your daughter, Tina. I encourage you to do that. And my mom says sometimes you have to encourage and yourself and make time for yourself. Yes, I call that my me time. For sure. For sure, for sure, for sure. For sure. All right, you guys, thank you so much. And remember for you to stay engaged. Keep loving on yourself, right? You deserve it. There's no greater love than a love that not only God can have for you, but the love that you can have for yourself. It's so important for you to fill your cup first and give from your overflow. If you're not healthy, if you're not feeling well emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually, then it's really challenging for you to be of a source of abundance for anyone else, even for your partner or your children. So fill your cup, okay? Be kind and loving to yourself first. And then, of course, be kind and loving to those around you. Be well, and I'll see you here on Friday with another Lauderhill Business Spotlight.